hit the body. At this moment, Fry and the others need to transport 40 pillows to a hotel 10 kilometers away. Leela had clearly emphasized that the anti-gravity cart could only bear the weight of one pillow at a time, but the group ignored Leela's warning and loaded all the pillows onto the cart. As soon as they stepped onto the planet, the intense gravity instantly forced them to bend over. Even the legs of the street vendors were flattened by the gravity. Meanwhile, the anti-gravity cart exploded instantly due to severe overloading. Now, they had no choice but to carry the pillows manually. After half a day of trekking, the three finally arrived at the entrance of the hotel. Luckily, a light rain began to fall at this time, which just helped them cool down. The three quickly took shelter under a nearby rock to avoid the rain. At this moment, their dissatisfaction with Leela had reached its peak as the captain. Leela not only didn't have to participate in delivering the goods, but also wouldn't allow them to use the backup cart. After some discussion, they finally decided to rebel. The three returned to the spaceship and announced that Zapp would become the new captain.
All hail the new captain!
From then on, Leela was locked in the laundry room by Fry and Bender. Zapp's first act after taking office was to take revenge on the neutral planet because only by doing so could he regain his official position. First, he sent a peace message to the leaders of the neutral planet. Then, taking advantage of their lack of vigilance, he piloted the spaceship and crashed it into their headquarters building. At first, Fry and Bender cheered for Zapp's plan, but soon they realized that the result of this action would be that they would be blown up, while Zapp would escape in the only spacesuit. The two hurried to find Leela and sincerely admitted their mistakes. Subsequently, they reinstated Leela as captain. Seeing that the situation was turning bad, Zapp fled immediately. Just as the spaceship was about to crash, Leela quickly turned the steering wheel, but the steering wheel had long been locked. If this continued, everyone would be killed. At the critical moment, Leela came up with a solution, but it required the full cooperation of Fry and Bender. They poured a large amount of dark matter fuel into the reactor and shut down half of the thrusters, allowing the spaceship to change its course by inertia. In the end, the three successfully escaped danger.
And no one will have to punish anyone for the mutiny.
The next day, it suddenly started snowing. A scientist explained that the snow was actually formed by a mixture of steam emitted from the nuclear power plant and smoke from tire incineration. So the mayor turned Springfield, the only town in the country with snow, into a tourist attraction, so that everyone could make a lot of money. Tourists really came, and every corner of the town was crowded with people. Springfield welcomed them with outrageous price hikes, but this caused traffic to become a mess. Marge couldn't stand the crowded buses and rising prices, and she could barely afford to tip. When Marge found that some tourists were looking for accommodation, she turned their home into a homestay. Homer was against it at first, but Marge persuaded him. Bart even started helping take care of the guests' children. The pastor was originally uneasy about the influx of tourists, but unexpectedly did very well. With a booming business, Bart also made some money from this boom. However, Marge gradually became annoyed by the guests' various demands. People kept asking for things, and even Ned became different from usual because of this. In the end, Marge couldn't stand it anymore and got angry at the tourists for all the problems they caused. On Christmas morning, the extra income allowed everyone to receive nice gifts except Homer, who only got carrot seeds. Lisa gave Bart a book, which triggered an argument between them. That night, Lisa was woken up by the sound of a book being torn. She tried to stop Bart from burning the book, but Bart told her that she hadn't considered what he really wanted at all when giving him the book. The next day, when Bart was saying goodbye to the tourists, he received an apology from Lisa. This time, she gave him a gift that he really liked, even though she had to sell the gift he had given her before to buy it. Bart didn't mind. Marge also apologized to the tourists for overreacting, but the tourists were grateful to her instead of their taxes on the deadline day. But Homer scoffed at these people, claiming he had already paid his taxes a year ago. Lisa reminded Homer that those were last year's taxes he still needed to file again this year.
Marge, how many kids do we have?
Homer stuffed a pile of tax forms haphazardly into an envelope, sealed it with tape, then rushed to the post office at top speed.
If I don't see it, it's not illegal.
Just seconds before the post office closed, Homer accurately dropped his letter into the mailbox. However, when the mail carrier was sorting the mail, Homer's letter accidentally fell into a pile that required strict inspection. Soon after, FBI agents burst into the bar and arrested Homer, who was completely unprepared.
How about you, Bon? One wish.
The agents warned Homer that his tax issues had been flagged by computer analysis. It turned out the FBI wanted Homer to work as an undercover agent. They strapped a recording device to Homer's belly and sent him to infiltrate his circle of friends to expose their illegal activities. Just then, someone mentioned his militia plan to attack government officials. Later, Homer pretended to feed ducks in the park and handed over the recording to the agent, but the agent immediately assigned Homer an even more difficult task. The agent led Homer into a photo studio and told him to go inside. The place was actually a secret base. When the two sides exchanged code words, Homer even had to cover his ears. This recording contained the nation's highest state secrets. In 1945, when European countries were rebuilding after the war, President Truman promised to issue banknotes with a face value of up to $1 trillion US, the largest denomination in history. Burns was tasked with transporting this batch of currency, but the money never reached Europe. The agents firmly believed the money was still hidden in Burns' house, so they planned to have Homer sneak in and retrieve it, warning him to keep everything he saw strictly confidential. That night, while Smithers was out, Homer snuck into Burns' mansion. He rang the doorbell, and Burns answered. Burns didn't recognize Homer and tried to set his vicious dog on him to chase him away, but the dog never appeared, so Burns had no choice but to invite Homer inside for tea. Burns pretended to boil water, then splashed it on Homer.
Still cold.
Let me get you a towel.
Taking the opportunity, Homer searched everywhere for the banknotes but found nothing. At that moment, Burns walked in and asked what he was doing. Panicked and unable to explain himself, Homer prepared to swallow a suicide pill, yet Burns mistakenly took him for a journalist and even showed him around his art collection. Next, Homer spotted a statue. The money was hidden inside it, but it was just a decorative prop. The real money had been hidden on Burns' person the entire time. FBI agents suddenly burst in and arrested Burns on charges of grand theft.
I'm not a thief, but Dominies. Every year you make hardworking Joes like my reporter friend here pay income taxes.
Yeah, he's right.
Homer took the chance to yank the rug out from under two agents, tripping them up.
Huh, take that, Uncle Sam!